How we going, everyone? I'm trying to see what it feels like to be 6 foot. I'm out here the day after, and I didn't film earlier, so there was no previous post, but today, this is the day after the 42-degree heat wave we had, and it's not just so much the heat, it was the bloody hot wind. And I was looking for my tape gun, taping the gun so I can tie some tomatoes because they've sort of fallen over. But what I'm doing here, you can see I've strung up all my tomatoes with big malaccas, and they're in an area where it gets pretty breezy here, pretty blowy, and they've sort of, you know, the string starts to sag a little bit and they start to waver around in the wind, and that causes a little bit of movement in the root zone. I know they're pretty tough plants, but the string itself, like the soft tie, you need to check it on a regular basis, especially as they start putting on a lot of growth. Like this here now. Oh, I think I did this one because I can see the length on that there. Oh no, wait a second, did I do that one? No, that one, see that? See how loose that is? That one, oh, you could do with a little bit more. And you should tie them up tighter. I mean, I know it's late in the season, folks, and a lot of you have ripped your tomatoes out. Well, down here in Lethbridge, we just planted ours. Have a look at the leaves here. This is from yesterday's wind. Copped a beating there, dried it out. No matter how much water you apply, your plants will cop a beating above if it's really hot and hot winds. So you just got to go around and clean all this. It's not just the tomato plants, obviously. It's all sorts of plants in the garden that can cop, you know, a bit of wind burn on the foliage. So we've got a 36, 38, 39 temperature days coming up next week, 4 or 5 in a row. So look, if you're in an area where it's nice and calm, you don't get the high winds, that's great if you've got protection. But where I am, everything's copping a beating. Now, these are the tomatoes on the south side where they're getting the south wind at the moment. Let's go and check the other ones on the north side, which were planted at the same time. Well, these ones don't look like they've got any more protection than the south side ones. They've got a few burnt leaves as well. We've already set some fruit on this one. Beautiful, look at that. That's fantastic, I'm excited about that. So we've got the tomatoes growing there, and we've got a couple of new shoots. I'm going to do 3, yeah, I was going to say 4, but 3 shoots, 3 leaders to go up to the top on each one. You can see I've left one here, I've left another one. Oh, I left another one, didn't I? Look at that, broken. Still alive, can you believe that? It's holding on by the skin. You know what we do? We do this. Clean it all off. We'll see if we can make some room in here. Geez, that's pretty loose as soil. It breathes well. Wait, I've got to get this through here now. There we go. So now what I've done is just plant it. Geez, I don't know what I've done. I've just nearly wrecked the tomato. Leave it there like that. That now should develop some roots and we'll get a second plant going. This is a good specimen. Now there's one flower here that's dried up. Look at that. Now that could have been just from the heat, cooked it. Anything could have caused that, but I won't say it's nitrogen, too much nitrogen in the soil, because all the other flowers are still on here. They're doing okay. We've got a few leaves to remove on there, but I'm noticing that these plants have actually set their roots properly into this mix because they're actually growing. Now, what I mean by that, this is something that I've been doing, you know, over the last few days, especially with a heat wave, understanding which plants have taken to the soil well and which ones are still trying to connect, because it's like, you know, it's like a new member in town. When you stick a new plant in the ground, sometimes they find their way into it and they connect with the life in the soil, or sometimes they just take a little bit longer to connect. And it depends on your soil structure as well, because these ones here, it's a fresh blend of planting and cocoa. That one over here is not a fresh blend of planting and cocoa. This is old soil that I brought in. I've spoken about this many a times. And why I'm coming to this topic here now, folks, is because right on here, have a look at this plant. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to analyze it and tell me what you think is good and what isn't. I'm not talking about the structure, the pruning. I'm not worried about that. You can come around here and have a look over here at all these tomatoes. Pay close attention to the color of the foliage as well. You see these tomatoes? We've got lots of shoots coming up. I haven't really pruned much off it, just a few leaves. A lot of suckers or new shoots coming out. I should remove them so I can draw the energy to the top, or leave them and cut the top off. But what do you see that's right and maybe wrong with this plant? Work that out? Well, let's have a look at the rest of the garden. We've got a bit of yellowing going on here, haven't we? So what does that tell you? We've got a dog here right next to me that keeps licking my palm. Careful. So all this is yellowing off. You can see a little bit of sort of leaf curl on the edge, or burning, a little bit of burning on there as well. Have a look at this plant here. It's bleached here. See what's going on? Can you see that? We've got dark green foliage here with the beans. That's good. This bean's been eaten to death. This cabbage has seen better days. This is over a year old, mind you, folks. I've left it there purposely to see what happens. I've actually harvested one, by the way, same like this exactly, peeled off a few layers, and it was perfectly fine inside and delicious as well. But back to the topic. We've got our pumpkin. This pumpkin was planted the same time as the pumpkin over there, the huge arch, which is getting the afternoon sun and all the beautiful heat in the fresh soil. That's gone ballistic. Lots of pumpkins on there too in the plant. This is only just connected to the soil because there's runoff here, and if you see on the other side, it's taken off on the other side as well. So you've seen all the other plants. You can see this plant, or this tomato here, is a little bit pale in the green, yet lots of growth, strong growth, quite sort of crunchy feeling, so it's quite rigid. It'll probably crack quite easily when you snap those leaves, and I'm quite confident it does. Actually, let's just demonstrate that for a second. We've got another shoot here. We don't need this one. Yeah, it's cracking, but it's a bit stiff. Yeah, it cracks. It's got to crack. So some plants are a little bit more pliable. They don't actually snap like that, they actually bend. There's a reason why this is cracking like that and not bending as much. Now, I won't keep you in suspense anymore, folks. Come around here. Have a look here. Look what we've established here, folks. We've got blossom end rot. So that is basically the flower, fruit, the end of the flower, which is, this is the bottom end of the flower, which is the fruit now, burning off. And that's caused by too much nitrogen in the soil. Now, who would have thought we'd have that on this, or in this garden bed here, or any of these garden beds? In fact, I would say that I shouldn't have it, but in this case here, obviously I do, because there's too much nitrogen in the soil. I've been feeding it lots, and not enough of you know what. I talk about it day and night, don't I? I sleep with the stuff, yet I haven't put any in this garden bed. So what's happened here is we have got a case of too much nitrogen. I tried to activate these garden beds. If you know, in the past I spoke about how dead these beds were. And then by adding all the organic matter and obviously fertilizers and liquid feeding, I've basically given it maybe one too many hits without balancing it out with a bit of black grit or carbon, so which reduces the nitrogen. So when you put too much nitrogen mediums, liquid fertilizers, green organic manures, you know, fresh manures, the acid or the nitrogen builds up. Then what happens there is you get a lockup of all the other essential nutrients and minerals in the soil, where the plant can't take them up. It'll take some up, it doesn't shut it all off completely. In the case it does, your plants will literally just wither away and die and burn up. Now, if they don't burn up, the next case to that is burning around the tips of the leaves, and it's hard to establish whether it's caused by nitrogen or it's caused by bad weather or lack of water. But you can see a very, very faint brown tinge on the tip of that leaf there. It's just running around the edge, and in fact it's on all the leaves. And in cases where it's more severe, you'll see the end of it starting to burn off. If it's not yellowing off, it burns off on the tips. You get yellowing as well as patches because the magnesium gets locked out. So you need to change that. And to fix the nitrogen, you need to put the black grit in. So this just happened to be the case in my case. So we get some black grit like that, right? I'm putting more than I need to, which is only meant to be half a handful around a square metre. I've got a full handful, but I'm going to throw it everywhere in this garden bed. And I'm going to get the hose. Who's got the hose? And then give it a good soaking in, folks. Now, black grit isn't soluble, but that doesn't matter because it gets digested by the microbes in the soil. And the water, the purpose of the water is actually to hydrate it a little bit. It's silica, basically, like sand. It absorbs a little bit of moisture, not enough to dissolve it. It won't dissolve, but it'll cause it to stick. It becomes claggy, like glue, basically, well, like how rocks are made, basically, out of sediment sand. You know, water comes along, compresses it, makes it like glue. Then when it dries out, you got a rock formation. In this case here, it doesn't get digested. It doesn't dissolve like that or get bonded into a rock formation, but rather gets digested by the microbes. So the water itself, in this case here, helps to a little bit of hydration and wash it into the soil. As soon as it touches the soil, it has that connection. Now, I admittedly don't run around religiously throwing around my products in my garden all the time. I do where I need to, as fit as I can, like everybody else. And in this case here, these beds have been the trials that I've been doing and trying to rectify them. This obviously needs black grit. So we got a little bit of blossom end rot. First time I think, I don't know. I don't think we've ever had black grit. We've had black grit, but blossom end rot, I don't think so. Maybe once in the first days when we first moved in here, but never. So black grit it is. Lots of it too. Oh, by the way, we're out of stock. Well, almost. Sorry to say. Next shipment, we're not sure how far away that is. So if you can find black grit on our website or your local garden centre, grab it. Rare as hen's teeth at the moment. Check out our website, Vasili'sGarden.com, and if you want to join one of our workshops, folks, get online and go to our workshop tab page and book yourself into one of the classes. It's an intense 4 hours, but enjoyable, meaning you're going to get a lot of information. We're going to answer a lot of questions. Obviously, come with your problems so we can work out your solutions, and a lot of hands-on. You get to explore these gardens and see what's going on in real time and check out some of the soils that we have here, because I do different things with every garden bed, and it's a great way to explore, experience and learn, and then take home and practice in your own garden. Vasili'sGarden.com. From me, Vasili, Maresi.